Hello everybody, welcome back to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're back here with the Underdog Racing League for Season 3, Round 11 here at Bristol, presented to you by Ultimate Siding and Gutter LLC, as these drivers look to take on the virtual half mile here in the mountains of Tennessee. It's going to be a fantastic battle for sure all night as these drivers take on the last great Coliseum. But first, before we get into our racing action tonight, let's give a special shout out to all the sponsors who help make it happen here at the league and here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Here at the Underdog Racing League, their proud sponsor is the Ultimate Siding and Gutter LLC. Our customers say we're the best in the business. We specialize in residential and commercial construction. We've been in business for over 15 years, and we only use the best materials, and we're dedicated to completing each project in a timely manner. There's nothing more important than having a house to call a home. So make sure you head on over and check out Ultimate Siding and Gutter LLC, as they're a great sponsor here at the Underdog Racing League. Next, let's give a shout out to ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. You can head on over to their website there at ButtKicker.com, where you can find various products for sim racing and multiple other different games that are all synced with without no additional software required. So make sure you head on over to ButtKicker.com and you can get yourself one of those new Gamer 2s, and you can use our Freaky Fast promo code, and that is FreakyFast20 to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. And last but not least, let's give a shout out to the Maconi Setup Shop. You can head on over to Maconi setupshop.com today, where you can get setups for 10% off by using our promo code FFB10. And those are setups from the official setup shop of the Richmond Raceway Esports team, fielding the recent Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion Zach Novak. And they also have coaching lessons there for $25 an hour. So head on over to the Maconi setupshop.com today, where you can find your setups. And remember, at the Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but they're your victories. Thank you to all the sponsors who help bring all this action to you here tonight on the racetrack and on YouTube live here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I am Zach Hall up in the booth. Joined alongside me tonight is going to be Sam Dyer, as we have Robert Moyer Jr. in the production box as always up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Sam, thanks for joining me once again here on Wednesday night, buddy. We're here at the Last Great Coliseum in Bristol, where, man, a recent update has brought to this track. It seems to be a little bit more racy. I'm expecting some good action here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, all the drivers excited for tonight's racing action, as all the different lanes going to be utilized, expecting the high line to be the most preferred, but drivers testing all the different lanes, especially with this new update. Drivers are feeling that anticipation. This is going to be a fun race for all drivers here for the Underdog Xfinity Series, so I'm excited to watch it. And as well, going to be seeing how lap traffic's going to be affecting these drivers, because that's going to be probably the biggest factor for most of these drivers, besides the side-by-side racing in the middle of the pack.
Well, yeah, I think that's a great point you brought up about lap traffic, because I can only think back to recent memory when we had a broadcast here last season in their truck series here in Bristol, and it seemed like the leader had nowhere to find a safe spot. They were always in some type of trouble, getting caught up in some, and we had, I believe, 4 different points a driver dominate and get taken out by something random happen in that race, and usually with lap traffic. So like you said, lap traffic is going to be a huge deal, but tonight you're never safe at this half mile. You got to keep your head on a swivel and keep your reaction times keen, because you will be in an incident in a moment if you make the wrong choice here in a split second. But here the drivers head off to qualify here for 5 minutes and 2 laps to put down your fastest times possible. And I tell you what, this track here, man, what a rush it is to qualify.
Yeah, I mean, it clicks away instantly. You got to be perfect and make sure you don't make any mistakes. Primarily the outside wall going to be your biggest struggle. If you make contact with the outside wall, that can invalidate your lap time. But now it's all about track position. We touched on the fact that lap traffic is going to be an issue. We know it will be at some point if we stay green. But early on, you want this track position, and qualifying is where you get that track position early on. So right now, one of the most important phases early in the race.
That it will be here. Qualifying going to be always important for that track position here. As you can see, drivers utilizing multiple different lines here, trying to see as some drivers are utilizing that second groove, some drivers utilizing right on the bottom, some drivers utilizing right up against the wall. We're seeing which times produce the best lap time. Right now, Trevor Earhart, though, at the top of that board with a 15:23. Nobody able to produce what they produced in practice yet, but we haven't seen Jason Finzer or Ray Lane, who were very quick in that practice session, put down a time yet.
Yeah, and really it's that patience of letting everyone else go. And then, for those drivers that know that they can put down the fastest laps in the whole entire field, I mean, if you wait until the last minute, I got to feel like that pressure, you get a better sense of, okay, I got to put down this type of a lap time while you're watching everyone else put them down lap after lap.
Yeah, and, not much time here to put down lap time, so you got plenty of time to get out there and get this done. So we'll see when these drivers elect to do it. Ray Lane's still sitting on pit road, who was our fastest man in practice. Looks like he rolls off now in the 55 machine as Walterman jumps to the top of the board. But as that happens, Jason Finzer, our race winner from Coda and defending series champion, jumps up there. And Walterman, we got to think about, he won the truck race here at Bristol, so very good at this track also. There's good to see that 99 back up front here in qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Walterman doing well, showing up for 9 races, going to be his 10th, trying to get a second win of the season. And this 99 team, what a race it could be. And you touched on it. In the truck series, it was kind of an unknown of who was going to win that race, because it seemed like the leaders kept on getting issues. That's going to be something to watch out for as the drivers putting on some of their best times, as Lane just needs to put down 1 lap time, and that's it. Top of the board for the 55.
What a lap that was. They're able to not match his best lap in practice, but enough to get it done and get ahead of Jason Finzer there and James Loveland, who looks like he's completing some extra laps there. That was his second lap. Wasn't able to get any farther up the board from third. But, man, both of those guys very close to what they produced there in practice. Only thousandths off of those times. These guys are really reared up here. This should be one well of a battle. And, the big thing with this update is it's really changed this racetrack. We've seen in the recent history the top line has been very, very dominant. And I do expect the top line still to be very dominant here tonight. But watch that inside line. As the run goes on, the tires are going to get more and more worn up top. those guys that elect to run that bottom early in the going, they're going to be the ones that are going to benefit from the most rolling that bottom with that slower speed. It's going to be very interesting to see, which drivers elect to run that high line, which drivers elect to save the tires on the bottom. It's going to be all over the place, I believe, once we get this started.
Tire saving? Oh, that's just I know one driver that's loving hearing the fact that there are multiple grooves and you can try to save them on the inside. That's James Loveland, currently third at 56. I mean, I always go back to, Helmstead, where it's all about figuring out how you want to save your tires on the top line or the low line. I know it's short track racing, but that 56, with the fact of this new update that's come in, I think James Loveland for the overall race might be the biggest driver that I have as an underdog going for a win here tonight.
Sam, that's actually a really good point. He's usually the driver that tries to run the more unorthodox line and the line that isn't the fastest way around, but the line that's going to be better on the tires. And I think, like you said, it's going to play right to his hands as this race goes on. We'll see what those top two, they're so quick. I mean, how much time they put in between the field. I mean, this is a very short track, and to have that much time in between, first and second there and third, that's a good margin. So we'll see if those guys elect to kind of, get in their own little race up top and run their tires off while maybe some of these guys back here, like James Loveland, can ride around, save some tire, and then once we have those continuous green flag runs, those guys battle each other too hard up front. The drivers who save those tires could be marching right to the back bumper.
Well, 5 seconds left in qualifying. The potential of 22 drivers racing here tonight at Bristol, as the field is going to be starting to grid up as qualifying has concluded. As the lineup is getting set up, we throw it over to you, Zach, for our starting grid.
And yes, there it is. Your starting grid here tonight. Ray Lane going to start from that pole position out front in that 55 machine. Alongside him is going to be last week's winner and defending series champion Jason Finzer. Third is going to be James Loveland in the 56 machine. Alongside him will be Robert Rader there in the 53 machine. Fifth is going to be Dylan Walterman. Sixth place is going to go to Trevor Earhart. Seventh is going to be Brad Ringer. Eighth is going to be Nick Alves in the 24 machine. Ninth is going to be Justice Murphy. 10th place is going to go to Parker Johnston. 11th is going to be Scott Kerberg. 12th is going to be Cody Dorsey. 13th, Matt Job. 14th is going to go to Jacob Sekrovich. 15th is going to be Christopher Hyatt. 16th, Kevin Orlando Jr. 17th is going to go to David Buell. 18th is going to go to Jake Williams. 19th, Grant Thrope. 20th is going to go to Dane Warner. 21st, Peyton Presley. And rounding out your field, the 22nd position here tonight is John Magner, as that's your qualifying results and starting grid here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway.
These drivers going to have 2 formation laps and getting themselves situated here, as still waiting on Jason Finzer to load into the session. Zach, we've kind of touched on a couple of the factors here at Bristol, but early on, side-by-side racing, how chaotic are a lot of these drivers going to be feeling in these first couple of laps?
Yeah, the first couple of laps are going to be very, very wild. Everybody's going to have to be on their watch here for early moments. We talk about cold tires a lot of times. A lot of things I've seen there from those qualifying laps, guys were a little bit loose exiting the corners. Cold tires will sneak up on you very quickly if you're not careful. And, already Robert Rader there dropping through the bottom of the racetrack. Unsure what's going on with that 53 machine. He may have to reset here, get towed back to pit road. Oh, he's dropping back. Actually, he has it. Well, sorry about that. Just noticed that on the board there. But, yeah, this start here is going to be very wild. Got to stay sharp here on these cold tires and watch what goes on ahead of you.
Well, the field getting amped up, and yeah, Rader going to the back, the only driver with an EOL penalty coming into this race. So we'll see how well Rader can try to rebound from this, because he qualified up in the top 10. So one of those drivers that we know has speed. He'll now have to climb through this field. Space car lights are off. We're going this time by.
That we are 1 to green here. Ray Lane out front. Can he break through, get to victory lane in that 55 machine? He's shown a lot of speed this season at multiple points. Also shows a lot of speed at the Nashville Super Speedway, another concrete track. Could concrete be his style here? We'll have to see. He'll start up front here tonight in that 55, looking very quick.
Drivers lined up, getting ready to get going. It's going to be Finzer, Lane, as well as Loveland and others following suit as the pace car rolls off. It's time to go short track racing here at Bristol. Green flag in the air as they head into turn number 1.
Great start from Finzer around the outside of the 5 machine. He blows the door off Ray Lane on that start. and he is out the gates early.
Already 4 car lengths ahead of that of Ray Lane, and Lane, he's at least, got no one's next to him. It's side by side, third on back. The chaos has already started here at the last great Coliseum of Bristol, and drivers side by side, and we're seeing the inside lane. It's looking preferred as drivers are moving forward. It's Loveland and others getting a little bit sideways, but holding on.
Oh, Loveland, big moment for him. He's going to have to back out there and lose a lot of positions, drop him back nearly out of the top 10 as Walterman and Earhart, the drivers who elected to run the high line so far, as Earhart drops down that time there. But they elected to run the high line. They got a few positions early there on the start, 6th to 3rd there for Earhart.
Earhart going to be trying to get himself redemption. One of the drivers that looked so good last week at COTA just could not get the win as Jason Finzer pulled away, as there was just so much hard racing between Earhart as well as Rader. And now we continue to see other hard racing side by side as Nick Alves trying to hold off Justice Murphy, and on the wall, and already major contact in, as that is going to be Murphy as well as Alves 3 wide, as Loveland trying to make that third lane work, and he'll get the momentum moving forward is the 56.
Oh man, that all got very wild there. Almost had a yellow second miss there in the 3 into the wall. Again, we got 3 wide back there. Orlando Jr., somebody diving up his inside. I believe that was Robert Rader trying to charge through the field. And that 53 machine is early here at Bristol. People showing aggression.
I mean, this is the time to get aggressive, gain some positions, but we've already seen it backfire a couple of times. Side by side, Kerberg as well as Rader going to be side by side, as right on board with Kevin Orlando Jr., who's trying to figure out where to go. As you see the heavy damage on the back bumper of the 14, already has been shoved around and bumped all over the place. And we're only in the first 10 laps of this race here, Zach, and drivers are looking like pinballs already.
Yeah, we've got some bent-up fenders, maybe some bent-up feelings here, possibly early in the go with how much contact I've seen out on this racetrack. Nobody's gone around yet, so that's a good picture for everybody. They've kept them straight here. But Brad Ringer up here in this 5th position, another good showing for this 76 here, all over the back of this 99 machine here. Dylan Walterman trying to get the run on this bottom here. He's been flirting with his inside here.
Trying to get some type of momentum. This is 76 is right on board on the gyro cam, getting a sense of the G's and the banking that's here at Bristol short track racing. And you just see how the drivers are trying to figure out how to arc their way through the different lanes that are being utilized, as that's Dylan Walterman of the 99 in front of the 76 that we're running on board with currently. And yes, we've had so much drama going on, but Zach, we're already 13 laps, about to be 14 laps into this race.
Yeah, laps click off very quickly here, and with the stages, I think we'll be within those very quickly here too with the 140 laps here tonight. I believe those are at lap 40 and lap 80, so yeah, they're going to be clicked off pretty quickly. They're almost halfway through this stage already.
And drivers further back road, as we're seeing that of Trevor Earhart, 3rd place. Great run for this 25 team as he continues to just show himself on the high line, just being content where he's at. Our top 3 doing a great job pulling away. But we touched on the fact of lap traffic. Well, the first group of lap traffic that our leaders are going to catch up to, it is a giant pod of about 6-7 drivers that are all collected with one another. When Jason Finzer catches up to lap traffic, he has gone from fresh racing to this madness that we see on screen.
And that is where the drivers like Ray Lane and Trevor Earhart and Dylan Walton, Brad Ringer, guys too within those 4-second ranges. And James Loveland even got his way back up to 6th here now. Drivers like that, they're going to be looking for, this is the time where they can make up ground. If you were saving anything, this is a time where the leader's going to have to slow down. He can't just, bowl and pin his way through, or you're going to end up, striked out on this track. So you cannot take too many chances as a leader. We'll see his pace definitely slow down when he catches up to those cars.
And right now, already about a second and a half away from the tail end of this group, which will be that of Grant Thorpe, who's going to be the first driver. 77's been bopped around a couple of times. We've been seeing all the drivers back here. Jake Williams going to be also back here as they're thinking about 3 wide. This is the battle for last place currently that we're watching, and just showing here at Bristol action from top to bottom. everywhere on track, but right now, this is the best racing on track.
Yeah, in a mere moment here, Jason Finzer will be to the back bumper of that 21 of Chris Rides. I mean, he is literally, as we jump on top of the roof cam here, you can see it's all in front of him now. He's going to have to pick his way through, but he's got to pick and choose here. Cannot put too much pressure on too many of these drivers, because if someone cracks in front of him, it's going to be hard to miss.
Yeah, I mean, Zach, when you're running as a leader or a front runner, and then you catch up to this lap traffic, how does your mentality switch from, you know, being up front, seeing clean racing, to now you got lap cars?
It's a big difference when you catch these lap cars, especially early in stage one. You know, it'd be one thing if it's coming down to the end, your mentality is completely different. You kind of do a bull through the China shop there late in the going, but at this moment here, Finzer, knowing Finzer, he's going to be very smart. You see that he sticks on the bottom, doesn't slide up the racetrack too far into the 21, gives him plenty of room here as he tries to work by. You just try to give a little bit more room than you normally would to most people as you lap them, just so, people can look up in the mirror, see the leader, and try not to make a mistake. And usually when you try not to make mistakes is when mistakes happen. And the leader has to just keep his head on the swivel and be patient. Patience is key.
I know when we're at mile to mile and a half, even 2.5 mile courses, it's pretty easy to be like, okay, what are the definite bad spots to catch lap traffic? It just seems like watching from above here in the booth, there is nowhere safe when you're passing a lap car. Is there a place that you're just like, this is the worst spot possible? Or are there places that you're like, okay, this is a better spot to make passes?
It's always worse to catch them right on the exit. Just get right there. You think you're not going to catch them, but you do actually. You have to lift a little bit because you're thinking you're going to have all that room to slide your car out towards the wall. But that's the tough spot to catch them. But like you said, there's really not a good spot to catch them at Bristol. You catch them on the straightaway, it's tough because you kind of got to pick and choose. Do I want to dive it here? Do I want to wait for the corner? So not an easy place. And Finzer, whoa, taking a big risk there, stuck the car on the apron to go to the inside of Orlando Jr. He makes contact, and Orlando Jr. into the wall.
Into the wall and dropping back. Somehow no one else involved with Kevin Orlando Jr., but heavy contact for the 27 as they'll fall back to 21st position. But, I mean, aggression from Finzer as he just wants to get away from all this madness. And that was about 6 drivers that he was able to get by as he continues to move forward. I think also for Finzer, he was feeling the pressure. Ray Lane is not just letting Finzer get away, getting by all this lap traffic. 55 is still right there within a half a second.
Yeah, Ray is doing a good job, but when he gets caught to lap traffic, he's getting by him pretty quickly. He's not getting held up, catching him too wide, where Finzer's took some risks when he's seen guys too wide and took a big one there. Maybe even got some damage. Looks to be clean on the right side of that car, but he did take a hard lick to the inside of Orlando Jr.'s left side there. And Orlando Jr. is definitely going to be thinking about that possibly when he comes back around next time if he does.
Yeah, Orlando Jr., one of the biggest drivers that have lost the most positions, as right now on board with 53. Getting a sense of some of the drivers that are just in cruise control. As Raider, who started, had a great qualifying run for himself, qualified in 3rd position, but then got docked with an EOL end-of-the-line penalty to start the race off, had to go all the way back to the end of the line, and now is up to 6th. Great rebound for the 53 team. But looking at some of the other drivers that are around him back in 7th, there's a great battle going on between Parker Johnston and Justice Murphy. As you see the 48 and the 9 battling. The 9 getting close to that outside wall. Can't get into it too often here as that damage. Yes, you can race with damage, but at some point, that car is going to crash.
Yeah, a lot of people will use the right side up here a lot of times on race here, but my rule of thumb is you always want the right side here. You think half-mile track, it's not that fast, but yeah, I mean, the lowest speed we're going to drop down to is, is not even under 100 mile an hour. So really got to keep that in your mind. It's still a pretty high speed track when you overall think about it. So any damage to those cars is going to hurt the aero performance and not help you turn here as the battle continues on between Johnston and Murphy. Right now, looking at it too, you brought up Raider. He drove all the way up to 6th from starting dead last there. He has been much quicker than our leader, and even watched a few laps where our leader had clean track, no lap cars to worry about. He was about a 10th quicker. So when we get this stage caution, these guys may have to start thinking about that 53 once we get all relined back up.
The biggest issue for Raider, though, is that all the drivers that he was catching up to got through that massive collection of lap cars. Raider has just caught up to it himself, and soon we're going to be seeing Parker Johnston and others also having to deal with all this mess as we're on board with the 99, Dylan Walterman, as he is trying his best to get through and has gotten through. See the 3 Raider now 4 cars back, now 3 cars back in that pack of lap traffic, which lap traffic is still something that Finzler's going through, as he's caught up to what we would call the second large group of drivers that are running in that 10th place position, and it's just madness here. And we're in the first 40 laps. Yep. We're under 100 to go, and they're still bouncing off one another.
And the stage caution there, right there at that moment coming out. So yeah, Alves, unfortunately, the driver is going to go a lap down right before all that. He will get the lucky dog though. So Nick Alves there in the spot will get back on the lead lap. But man, oh man, Finzer with a rapid pace there, lapping up all the way to 10th.
Yeah, you had a sense if we stayed green, at least the top, 6 were going to be on the left on the lead lap. Everyone else was easily going to go a lap down, if not multiple laps down. Only one driver's got multiple laps down. That's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27. As everyone's that's on the lead lap coming into pit road now, and it's going to be a quick pit stop as well, coming in and out with how few of pace laps we're going to see, or how quick they go through all these pace laps.
Yeah, this is going to be key here, getting in and out of pit road. No mistakes here. Don't give up any track position. They had a pretty good lead, so Finzer should be able to come out with it here. Just really going to come down to him and Ray Lane here. But great first stage for Finzer. I mean, he did excellent there, really running well. Same for Ray Lane there. He looked very confident. But I want to see, once we get the line back up, Lovell was able to get back to 3rd after his big mistake, and Raider was able to drive the 6th. Those are 2 drivers I think could possibly insert themselves in that top 2 battle there.
Yeah, and also now looking at some of the drivers where they lie, what is the fuel window looking for these drivers? The ones that might be thinking about doing an oddball strategy of staying out potentially, or trying to stay out as long as possible.
65% fuel load. That's that's a really interesting point there. Where personally, most likely you would definitely be able to do the first stages. 80 laps. You could definitely probably do on 65% fuel load, because you can do about 150 laps on one tank. So with the 65% fuel load, you're looking at probably around 90 to right around 95 possibly. So we'll have to see. But if someone elects to do that, that's interesting. I don't think you would, just because the amount of tires they have. They have plenty of sets of tires, and with 40 laps here in this next stage, if you didn't take a set of tires, you're probably running in the 16-second bracket there. And we take off at 15 flats, you'll be lapped in a matter of 15 to 16 laps if that continues.
Well, I'm just throwing that out because we've got ourselves 6 drivers that are thinking about staying out, get a wave around for themselves. Going to be David Buell, as well as Cody Dorsey, Dana Moyer, as well as that of John Magner and Grant Thorpe, who are going to be going with a wave around. So they will not be coming into pit road. They're, instead of staying a lap down, getting service done, they're going to take the wave around, being on the lead lap, but all the way at the end, and on 44 lap old tires, they were running about 7/10 slower than their best times, if not a second slower. So they might quickly become our next lap traffic pack for that of Jason Finzler to catch up if we get a long green flag run. But I think we were surprised that we even stayed with the long green flag run, because there were at least 6 or 7 moments during that 40-lap stint that there easily could have been a big wreck that could have happened, or at least one car spinning with the amount of contact we were seeing between all the drivers.
Oh, no, you're exactly right. We could have definitely had a few yellows with those incidents there. And that's what those guys are banking on there that took that wave around. This is a huge risk for them, because think about it, it took 40 laps for them to go a lap down on even tires. Now they're going to have 40 lap older tires. They could possibly go down 2 laps here in this next stage if we don't get a yellow. So they want something to happen here because they're going to be looking for that to help them.
Pace car is off. Stage 1 has come to a close. Let's continue racing. Jason Finzler already on the throttle, and he is all the way gone. 3 car lengths ahead of Ray Lane as they're side by side for 4th place on that.
Again, Jason Finzler shot out of a cannon, just putting gaps on the field. And look at Raider now up to 4th. It's going to be a nice battle here. This top 4 is solidified into the 4, I think, that may have the best pace here. We'll see if they can keep it on track.
Yeah, well, really, Rader's going to be the biggest driver that I think all of us are going to keep our eyes on, as well as Trevor Earhart, two drivers that were dueling at Coda. We'll see if they can get their quarrels settled and get themselves moving forward. As right now, it's Finzer already a half a second ahead of Ray Lane, which this is similar to the way that we saw that first stage go. Finzer took off, he kept the lead, and then once he caught up the lap traffic, that's when Lane started to climb back and kept it close, within a half a second of our leaders throughout that whole entire stint. So wouldn't be surprised if we see Finzer try to gap a little bit more, and then once he catches up to lap traffic, things get a little bit more dicey, which, surprised to see, a lot more single file racing until you get to the middle of the pack around that 10th place position.
Yeah, everybody kind of single filed out here with a little bit of gap in between their positions. As a few drivers selected on the bottom. Back here, Scott Kerberg in that 14th machine. And also Nick Alves in the 24 who got the lucky dog there. But a few of these guys who already took the wave around, like Grant Thrope and John Magner in the 15, back here in the 15th and 16th position, they're already 11 seconds behind our leader. In the matter of a few laps, they will be lapped already.
Oh, absolutely. And it's about 5 drivers that are in that group, and it's all the drivers that took the wave around. The ones that were banking on a quick caution, well, with aggressive moves like that, you might think you might see 129 holding on tight, and they're wrecking in the back. It's the drivers that took the wave around that are going to be bringing out the spin.
Well, that works out for them still, involved in a yellow here. You might have a fast repair to help you there too. So that's going to help them at least, though, get on the lead lap and get some new tires. That's actually pretty nice for them.
As I believe it was around Dorsey and others. They were trying to force it 3 wide for a moment. It's going to be Peyton Presley in the 11. You're going to see him try to stick his nose in the middle. And on the exit of the corner, going 3 wide is not the best position to be in.
Yeah, 3 wide at Bristol on late exit like that is a dangerous area. I mean, we talked about catching a lap car there. Well, you got a car to your inside and a car to your outside there. It's almost impossible not to make contact with how tight it gets off of that corner. And man, oh man, just unfortunate for those guys. But if they have a fast repair, they can use it. And now they at least they know they can get on even tires and possibly have a good chance of staying on that lead lap.
Yeah, and speaking of tires, drivers come into this race with 5 sets, 1 that they started off with, and 4 sets in pit road for tires. So most of the field already has used 1 of their sets that's in pit road, so they have 3 left. We only ran just about, I would say, 10 laps of green flag racing. Doesn't seem like much of that was aggressive racing just because of how single filed everyone got. Would you even try to attempt to just come in, get fresh tires, and risk losing that track position for some extra grip at this point?
That's such a good question, especially when you know the fact that, drivers from 12th on back are going to pit anyways due to them taking the wave around there. And it's a tough decision because, 8, it looks like about 8 really up the speed laps for us. Those laps will take a little bit of a toll on the tire. Even though it's only 8 laps, it will have a difference. But at the same time, if we get a bunch of cautions in that final stage after lap 80, you're going to want to have a few sets just to have the chance at putting them on. So, maybe that's what I'm thinking these drivers up front are electing to do. Decide not to take that set so they can have a few maybe if we get a wild into this race.
Well, drivers got to have a clean run for those first 40 laps of stage 1, and already a quick caution coming out. Top 5 going to be Jason Finzer, Ray Lane, James Loveland with Robert Rader, as well as Trevor Earhart. Finishing out the top 10, Parker Johnston, Dylan Walterman, Brad Ringer, Justice Murphy, and Nick Alves. And looking at some of the drivers and where they lie currently, we are going to be having a total of potentially 17 drivers on the lead lap when we go green. With 18th back to 22nd, all at least 1 or more laps down. Zach, I know it's still pretty early in this race, but it seems like if we stay green, this race is going to take away very quickly and kind of be out of reach for some of these drivers. I mean, how do you even try to gain a lot of positions if you're further back in 14th or 12th? Yes, you've got fresher tires than the drivers in front of you, but is that rubber really going to be advantageous moving forward from this point?
It's going to benefit those guys for sure. If I'm one of those guys back there, I am pushing very hard here in these final laps of this stage to try to get as good a track position to start that final stage. So right here, you just kind of try to get the best out you can because this is a short little run to the end, so everybody's going to be pushing very, very hard.
Final stage. When does this stage come to a close?
80.
Lap 80 is where they're looking for as drivers see the pace car pull off. And it is green flag, and Jason Finzer, that's probably not the strongest restart we've seen him have, but still good enough for 2 car lengths ahead as Raider going to be on the outside. Huge run and crossover move for second.
From the back to second, he's trying to do it. Don't know if he'll have to power out a 4 here. Slides up, the racetrack going to solidify there and back into third, but man, oh man, what a drive for F53 as he's starting to show his arm here late to go in his. Man, he's got some wins in his back pocket here in the last few weeks. He's showing pace once again.
Trying to get another notch on the 53's belt as the 53, that's who we're riding on right now. It's Robert Raider going to be trying to figure out how to get by Ray Lane. And with the drivers that just got fresh tires, first of those is going to be the 84 of Cody Dorsey, who we saw a lot of damage on the rear end of the 84, but he's back at 11th. We'll see how well the drivers with fresh tires can get moving, but Lane's trying a little bit of a higher line, which is giving an option. Now we're seeing those 2 defined lines being utilized, and you can just see the strength. Entry goes to Raider, but you don't want to get in the outside wall as you're going to be losing time.
That was very close there for him. That could have been detrimental to his race, even with the thigh damage that he would have got. But James Loveland, he was looking to take possible advantage there as we ride on his front bumper cam. Now you can see just how much area they cover here at this small half-mile racetrack. It is so fast, and it takes your breath away. I mean, it literally will make you dizzy.
Update for drivers that are further on back. Grant Thorpe has to take a unscheduled pit stop after contact between himself and Peyton Presley having to come into pit road. He is going to be the 77 as drivers certainly having a wild time for themselves as the middle of the pack getting dicey as we're running on board with John Magner.
Yeah, this back here is the old Hornet's Nest at Bristol, for there ever was one. And these drivers are pushing very hard, trying to get whatever they can here. And also, you got to think, stay on the lead lap. They're like, man, I just need to get to 80 and not see that number 5 yellow machine in my rearview mirror. And that's a tough thing to do because Finzer right now is putting on a heck of a pace, pushing super hard here at this end of the second stage.
Yeah, right now running anywhere from a couple of tenths to being well, he was running about 3 tenths faster than the rest of the field, which has been able to give him up to 1.1 second lead, 1.2 currently over that of Ray Lane. But Ray Lane, he's not giving up just yet, still keeping it close. But man, riding on board with the 15, as well as all these drivers getting to feel how banked this course is. I mean, it feels like you really are going into a blind corner with each time you turn in.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because every time I run this track, I get almost a creak in my neck because I lean my head to the left just because it's so banked that your body, when you race it on the simulator, it just feels so, you just want to lean with it because it's so banked. And I'll tell you what, I can remember when I race here each time because of my neck hurt just a little bit from leaning over each time you turn here.
As we're riding on board with the 76, is Brad Ringer doing his best right now in 6th place, trying to get to Trevor Earhart and also trying to defend from Dylan Walterman. Walterman, we touched on, won this race in the Truck Series season prior, and honestly, wouldn't be surprised if the 99 kind of sneaks away with this thing because we still have a lot of racing to go as we're inching closer and closer to the end of stage 2.
Oh no, that's for sure. I mean, looking back at that truck race, he was like our 5th guy to take the lead. The first guy got the lead, got destroyed. The second guy, also same fate for him, same for the 3rd, and same for the 4th. He was the lucky guy to be that 5th one to take the lead, and he came home with a victory with a solid run there that night. Right now, running the 7th, so a few more guys have some mistakes in front of them. You never know here at Bristol with this lap traffic, and that last stage too, going to be about 57 laps with it ending there at lap 80. So we're going to have a pretty long run there to get these guys in some pretty heavy lap traffic. Going to have to watch for fireworks to fly.
Well, as we're inching closer and closer, again, lap 80 going to be the end of stage 2. Currently, it's the 3 of Jacob that's going to be the first car a lap down that could get that lucky dog position. But Dana Moyer going to be one of the drivers that we kind of have to be concerned with, because Dana's about a second and a half off from going a lap down, which easily can be caught here in these last 3 laps of stage 2.
Yeah, he's going to have to push really, really hard here, because he's really only about, 10 car lengths ahead here, as right there, Finzer going to take 2 to go for the stage. It's going to be close between these two with the difference in speed, 1590 there to a 1633. Dane Moyer going to push his hardest he's ever done here at the Underdog Racing League to stay on the lead lap.
As we're now on the white flag of stage number 2, riding on board with our leader, kind of waiting and seeing if we're going to be seeing the next car go a lap down, as Moyer on the inside trying to hold off, as Finzer wall riding practically off the corner to across the line. And the yellow has not come out just yet. Once we see the yellow, that's when stage ends, and he's made the pass. It's going to be Moyer with the lucky dog spot.
Oh, and that's heartbreaking, because he had the position at the line. He'll get the lucky dog, but man, had the position at the line, but just couldn't hold on to it till the yellow there for the stage. Finzer's going to bring home the stage win. And the other driver who's going to be, the most upset probably about that is Jacob Sekovich, who won't get the lucky dog now because of that.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob's got to be frustrated on that one, doing everything in his power. Was hoping the 28 wouldn't be caught, but it happened there late. And now into pit road, it's going to be everyone that's on the lead lap.
Yeah, everybody going to hit pit road here, see what they're going to get done to these race cars. Most likely 4 tires and fuel. See if you have any damage, try to get that fixed. But our race leader, what a night it's been for him. 2 stage victories. Wasn't able to get the pole, so no freaky fast grand slam here tonight. But still, what a night it's been after winning at COTA last week.
Yeah, that COTA race. If you have not seen drifting at COTA, you got to go back and watch that one after you're done watching tonight's Bristol race. They were slicing and dicing everywhere. Robert Rader was honestly the show of the night with how much he was drifting around and holding on to that 53 machine. Didn't get the win, but certainly put on a show there for the first stage of COTA.
Yeah, he definitely did. He was showing us how to get around a track sideways, and that's a fun way to do it. But Jason Finzer with that win here in this stage is just showing another dominant performance. A way to, I just want to look back at how many stages he's won this season. It's kind of mind-blowing at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if on my stat board we have that, but if someone wants to go back and tally up all the stage wins that we've seen from the 5, it's got to be a lot out there. But it's certainly, we know that the most wins of the season goes to Jason Finzer, which, coming off of the dominant truck series that we saw the 5 have, no surprise coming in. I think there was a little bit of an unknown changing vehicles of if Jason was going to carry that dominance. And, we've seen a lot more of other drivers popping in, getting wins this season, but the dominance is still there for Jason.
Oh, it has not left, that's for sure. We're like, will it slow him down a little bit? Maybe so. Some guys fit the truck a little more. I think you can throw that guy in anything with wheels, and he'll probably figure it out if you give him enough time. So, big compliment to him there. But also, a lot of guys, have joined, like Raider, Lane has also joined in here late in the late this season. And also, you got drivers like Loveland, Earhart, Ringer, Walterman. A lot of guys showing a lot of pace this season. Grant Thropa had a win too this season in Xfinity cars. So a lot of different changes up with the pacing here with the Xfinity cars. And I'm sure there's a few more other guys that are just on the edge of breaking through the victory lane.
Absolutely. As currently we've got to be having about 19 drivers on the lead lap. They're getting ready to go green. They're stacking up, getting ready to go. Jason Finzer, Ray Lane, James Loveland, Robert Rader, Brad Ringer, as well as Trevor Earhart going to be your top 6 as drivers stacked up, ready to get going. Here's your one of your times. This could be the final restart if we can somehow stay green. 2 stages down. It's Time to figure out who's going to win here at Bristol. As the pace car is off, green flag in the air, and there goes the 5 once again. Probably his best start, as that inside line just did not get going.
Yeah, again, fired out like a cannon. I don't know what he's doing through 1 and 2 and through the restart box. Oh no, Ray Lane on cold tires.
There were multiple spins and more contact. Drivers piling in. It's going to be a parking lot here at Bristol.
Oh no. And that is what we did not want to see here to start the final stage. Calamity happening with our second place man going around.
On drivers in the back, just confused on what happened, because when you're this packed up on these restarts and those first couple of laps, if something happens up front, it usually trickles through everyone behind. We saw it there. As you can see, hard racing, 55 Ray Lane going to be on the inside trying to hold on. You're also going to be seeing the 76 get loose as well, almost simultaneously. And both, when you've got 2 cars blocking most of the track, it's difficult to go anywhere, as the 99 saw a hole and it closed up quickly.
Yeah, and that was his only shot to get through. You see other guys just trying to squeeze through. Justice Murphy involved there. Nick Alves did a good job of squeezing through. Same to Cody Dorsey, as the driver's just trying to survive that wreck there on the front straightaway. That was a tough thing to see there. And cold tires catching out Ray Lane there, man. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, already going to be seeing drivers having to come in. And now is the question, if you feel like you still got full power, do some of these drivers want to use a fast repair this early on? I mean, we got to see an early 40-lap green flag run, but Zach, I think you and I both know that that's most likely not going to happen here to close out this race.
Yeah, that's tough to think that's going to happen after what we've seen in the last, second stage and right there to start there. It's going to be a tough deal to be able to go all the way to the end like this, but I don't know. We've seen these drivers go green at times we didn't expect this season, so I would not be surprised to see him be able to do it again here. But Jason Finzer just loving what he's seeing. He says, "Well, man, there was a car I was definitely, waiting to see if they could get by me at some point in this race. Now he's not have to worry about him. He's got 2 more right behind him getting ready to do battle with him."
Drivers picking and choosing on what lane they want to be in, and also now get to see a new contender on this restart. It's been Ray Lane every single time on the inside trying to figure out how to get by that of Finzer. And now we're going to be seeing that of James Loveland and how well the 56 can get a good restart if he can keep it close. And that was one of the biggest things in the truck series when we saw, Finzer dominating. He had the great restarts, but it was when someone actually was able to stay with him, challenging on these restarts, that Finzer kind of struggled in those first couple of laps, if we could even say that he was struggling. The one few times that we saw that he could be human on the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely. That looked to be his weakness there for sure. Loveland, let's see if he can take advantage of it. The thing is, nobody's been able to time him yet and get their timing down with where he goes in the restart zone. We'll see if someone can get it right and be side by side at Ring 1.
Driver side by side, it's Finzer, Loveland, Earhart, Raider, as well as Walterman. Your top 5 pace car is off. A little bit more of a delayed restart, and that's going to help Finzer just take off, pull away side by side for second. It's going to be that of Earhart trying to make the outside line work and could not make the squeeze. Loveland to second place as they go into 3 and 4.
Power move from Loveland. Raider trying to do the same thing. He pulls it off, slides up into 3rd. Loveland and Raider now second and third, trying to do their best to catch up to this 5 machine here in this final stage. We'll see what they can do early to go in here on this run.
Finzer just pulling away as he's got himself all the way up to 0.6 of a second ahead. As right now it is all single file racing until you get around 7th place, where we're seeing Cody Dorsey getting under pressure from Matt Jobe, as well as seeing other drivers trying the inside line. That's the 48 of Parker Johnson, who's making a move for himself. Side by side, these are drivers that are battling to make sure they have a good run. Currently, this is 6th on back.
Wow, what a job by these guys. Dorsey was one of the drivers that took the wave around earlier. He's taking advantage of it here, driving himself on up, now up to the 8th position. Johnston up to 7th. What a run for them as Walterman continues to drop back. And here comes David Bill in the 52. Same with Christopher Heights. Walterman definitely suffering with that damage.
Yeah, Walterman just continuing to struggle on the high line. And, you know, with those drivers having to pick and choose if they wanted to get repairs or not, we're now seeing what some of these drivers that didn't take a repair are dealing with. You're going to fall back to that 11th place, where Walterman kind of being a wall currently as he is trying to do the best that he can, but Kerberg's able to make the pass, but they're 3 wide. It's Ray Lane in the mix of all this.
Ray Lane trying to make his way back up in that 55 machine. Now going to take position as Walterman continue to drop back now as the 77 of Grant Thrope goes by.
Still, it's going to be that of Brad Ringer, another one of those drivers that was battling in the top 5 for a current moment there. He's now got Ray Lane following suit, saying, hey, be the spear, take me and pull me to the next row, and the next drivers to pass, as they're able to get by Kerberg, as well as they're seeing the 77 of Grant Thorpe, who's able to make the move. The 77, what a roller coaster of a day he's had. At one moment was 2 laps down, now on the lead lap in 13.
I know, what a comeback from him. Great point there, Sam. He has driven himself right back up into contention to get a good, solid run here tonight. He's got to have a smile on his face. And remember, he was our winner from the Nashville Super Speedway. Like I said, same thing with Ray Lane. He had some good speed there at Nashville. Maybe some of that concrete connection there is working out for him there as they're both trying to move up the field. Ray Lane definitely not where he wants to be as he tries to continue on.
Everyone's starting to spread out just a little bit here, and it's this battle that we're seeing from 9th back to that of 13th. This group of 5 keep close with one another as they are battling strong, and Ray Lane now going to be forcing the issue on the inside, trying to make the pass, but just not close enough. And that inside row, it's where drivers need to go if they're going to make the pass, but it's so difficult to make any types of moves.
And right now, coming to 35 to go here at the Underdog Racing League. As everybody gets strung out here a little bit in the green flag run, we're going to head to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in a few moments to close out here tonight's race as Jason Finzer leads James Lovely.
want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Maconi Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Maconi Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MaconiSetupShop.com and learn why Maconi Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
All right, we are back up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I'm Zach Hall, and alongside me tonight here is Sam Dyer. But the racing is coming to a close here at Bristol. 21 to go. Jason Finzer out front. James Loveland in the second position, starting to close that gap down as we've watched Ray Lane here on side-by-side drive his way up to sixth position. Drivers are definitely starting to push here. Lane to go in his Earhart here in that fourth position. Having a little, doesn't really have too much pressure with Alves being about a second back. But again, Loveland, oh, they're losing a little bit of time, but 19 to go. We'll see if he can get down to that 5.
Yeah, and right now, Loveland's biggest issue is he's been catching up to lap traffic at a really poor time. Whenever, Finzer gets by a driver, the gap, gets closer, and then it expands once again because Loveland has to pass that same car. And right now, we're seeing, Finzer doing exactly what he needs to do, continue to be pressuring on. But this is probably the best timing because Kevin Orlando Jr. just getting out of the way. And for Finzer, he really had a challenge there for a second to try to get by that of Jake Williams. And that's just going to be costing time for the 5, closing in the gap, 17 laps to go. That threw on the factor that, for James Loveland, when tires become a factor, it's all about how do you get through. And right now, we're seeing the drivers really having to pick and choose, really want to lie. And the 56, he's been staying on the low line this whole entire really run, trying to save those tires, while Finzler's been trying to go with a higher approach, trying to get a better launch on the straightaways, which, when he's by himself and there's no one around him, it works out great. But when he catches up to a lap car, has to back off, lose all that time that he was going to get the advantage over.
Yeah, it seems like most of the cars, the lap cars, are running up high, so it is taking away Finzer's normal line. Well, Loveland is just kind of running his line that he wants to run. He goes a little bit up the racetrack here, this time trying to diamond the track a little bit, getting another good run, go bring it down to 0.7 of a second here behind Jason Finzer. He is really starting to close the gap here. Impressive stuff from Loveland. Sam brought it up early in the race. Could he be the one that saved the tire here late to go?
Save the tire, but now he's got 2 lap cars in front of him. He's got that of Thorpe as well, as he's got to get by that of Boyle, who's trying their best. And Boyle's running a similar line as the 56, so that's going to be hurting Loveland. All that time that was just gained, thrown out the window, a quick yellow here late in the race.
And oh man, I think that brought a battle we were about to have here for the lead to the end, as that yellow is going to change the whole complexion of this race, give Ray Lane a chance back in 6th.
Timing of this yellow might be putting us in a spot of around 6 to 5 laps to go in this race. So this is putting Jason Finzer in a prime spot, as here's the incident and what happened. And it's going to be happening a little bit in front of the 26. Lane trying to be aggressive. Moyer's going to be trying to get by, and Kerberg it gets pinched, and there's really nowhere to go. Drivers all trying to go for the same real estate. Once again, 3 wide racing, not the safest place to be when you're here at short track racing at Bristol.
That was unfortunate for those 2 guys there, not able to not make contact and bring that yellow out there. That's really gonna spice this race up, man. This is gonna change everything. Ooh, some spices up.
Everyone came in except for Jason Finzer in the pit road.
Oh
boy.
No. That is a big what if here for Jason Finzer, especially with the laps left. I'm really surprised he didn't pit there. That kind of felt like a no-brainer with the amount of laps we had left here, especially with how many laps they've ran.
And he still has two sets of tires in pit road to work with. So there were still plenty of tires that were in pit road. But now we're going to be seeing that of James Loveland having a 48 lap advantage tire-wise over the 5 of Jason Finzer. And we've already seen the tire difference being anywhere from 7 to 8 tenths when you're 40 laps into a run. Add another 8 to that, Finzer might be around 9 tenths to a full second off of what his best lap time was. And Loveland right behind him, and the man that was driving reckless but somehow working at Coda, Robert Rader, as well as behind.
Oh, this just got very spicy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and put the emotes out there, chat, please. It is really, really spicy here because Loveland, new tires, the whole field behind Jason Finzer. He's going to have to do the best restart of his life, get a gap, and hope for some yellows, or just drive the best laps I've seen anybody ever do. Because right now, looking at lap times right before that yellow, 16:44, 16:41. Those were his last two of the speed laps there before that yellow flag came out. Fastest lap he's ran all night is a 15:19. So we're looking at upwards of a 2.3 there of fall off. Now with these caution laps, it will cool the tires down. That should bring some time back. I'd say about a half a second, but you're still at that point looking at 0.8 of a second difference. I think Loveland, Rader, Earhart, and Lane here, it's all about how they get around them and how they get away, because, you know, Loveland doesn't have a clear shot at this. If Rader gets there first and gets around him, it switches into his hands. So you got to be really, really smart. And the same thing is Finzer might spin the tires here also. It's going to get wild. I can't wait, man. I cannot wait.
We have seen tires be spun, but we also saw Ray Lane, one of our front runners, spin out with cold tires. Had fresh rubber, but since they were cold, he spun around. That's also going to be a factor to watch out for anyone from second on back. But if this race stays green, looks great and primed for James Loveland or anyone else that's behind Finzer to win this thing. But if we get a quick caution, that's going to be putting us close to overtime. But it's time to see who's going to win here at Bristol. Already gone is Finzer, and his goal, get as big as a lead as possible. So they're almost 3 wide for second.
Yes, and this is what he needs. That was a great jump. Caught them all off guard here. They come off of 2 like some hungry hyenas. They're coming for the lead. Finzer nowhere to go. They're already there.
3 wide for second place. Here comes Rader into the inside wall, and he'll bounce off, come back. We stay green as there goes Loveland, spun around by Lane. Yellow comes, and Trevor Earhart could not make the pass.
And that is exactly like I thought. There was going to be so much of a stack up behind Finzer. Everybody was going to have to check up a little bit. Then the third place man of Rader takes a chance, and big carnage there on the front straightaway.
And with the timing of that caution, we will now be entering overtime for this field. And Jason Finzer, this is exactly what he needed. He needed to go into overtime. Just have 2 laps to try to hold off the field, because it's possible. He can do it with just 2 laps. Because like you said, there are a bunch of hungry hyenas behind the 5. They're going to scratch and claw at one another before they even get to the 5 machine.
This all just got turned on its head. Finzer, he can do this, man. You know, right there, he led 2 laps. So if he can do that same restart, if Earhart is just a little bit better though at timing it and getting to him, not side by side. That was the problem. Loveland and Earhart caught him side by side. Earhart couldn't turn down to the bottom to get to the inside to use that running like he had, and that's where it stacked it all up. That, man, this right here is about to get so crazy. If Finzer can pull this off, which I'm saying, it's all the odds are against him, but he can do it. I've seen people do this before where a late race restart, you just time it right, get enough of a gap, and you survive. We'll see what happens, though. Like you said, hungry hyenas are going to be trying to get this lead here and steal themselves a win here late in the season.
Well, you better prepare, because we only got 1 shot at this thing. Overtime green-white checkered attempt. If we make it to the white flag, we race it to the end. But if a yellow comes in that first lap before we get to the white flag, the race will conclude under yellow. It's Jason Finzer, Trevor Earhart, Brad Ringer, Nick Alves, Parker Johnson, your top 5. And where is James Loveland? He is gone, DNF'd after being wrecked out the 56. He'll finish all the way back in 18th place upset, angry. We knew there was going to be tempers flying, and they certainly have. We'll see if it carries over to any other weeks, but man, Zach, drivers are about to get stacked up, about to get really spicy, and honestly, I think Finzer's got the best shot to win this race out of anyone.
I mean, to have the ability to go when you want and have only one attempt at it, I think you're right, Sam. Earhart's going to have to time this well. He's got to be paying attention. You can't be sleeping all night long. We have not seen anybody be within 2 car lengths of this man on a restart. And if they don't do that, then it's pretty much a given at that point that they're not going to get, they'll get to him, but can you get around him is the question at that point. So he's going to give himself the best shot we know with that restart here, but we'll see if they time it better, because if he goes at the same point last time, it may not end up well.
Jason Finzer, we've seen him have late starts. We've seen him take off right when the pace car goes into pit road. That is legal. The 5 can take off right when the pace car makes the move to pit road. Completely legal move, but the biggest thing, the 5 of Jason Finzer cannot spin his tires. He's on 48 lap older tires than the rest of the field. So right now, Trevor Earhart, Ringer, Alves, Raider, they're all in prime spots to try to get the win here as we wait for the pace car to pull off.
Pace car's in, they're off. Green flag. Finzer again catches him sleeping. Earhart, though, he's going to be all by himself here as we're going to be coming to the white flag next time by here on the green white checkered.
It's going to be Jason Finzer, also Trevor Earhart, going to be 1 and 2 as we're going into turn 3. Here comes the 25, going to be right on the back bumper, coming to the white flag, the freaky fast 1 to go. Ringer already spinning, but here comes Trevor Earhart, giving him a bump. It's not going to be enough, getting a bump to Earhart. They're sliding, they're wrecking. Jason Finzer is no one close to him. The 5 machine out of 4, no one will be there. Jason Finzer survives on the older tires, winning at Bristol.
Oh, man, Trevor Earhart there, he's got to feel gutted because he just picked wrong. He chose the wrong leg. He couldn't get out of the way without running the 5 over, and pretty much elected not to run the 5 over and checked up. So got to give him credit for not, getting into the back of the 5 too hard. But man, oh man, Jason Finzer, I don't know how the guy does it. He just did it though.
I mean, he has a horseshoe somewhere. I mean, that's it. Oh, I mean, he needed that. He needed to go into overtime. He got the overtime attempts, and all he needed was one great restart, and he got it, able to hold off. And we thought for a moment, Trevor had the run, but like you said, picked the wrong lane. What if he went on the outside? That's going to be kicking the 25 all night long and all week. But burning it down is the 5 of Jason Finzer.
That he is, burning it down on the front straightaway. Going to celebrate tonight another race victory back-to-back after coding out the 5 machine. He's going to be definitely one excited man, winning both the stages. But we'll be here back in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, as we get our top 3 up here. Robert Raider, Nick Alves, and Jason Finzer here for their post-race interview. All right, we are back here, ladies and gentlemen, for our post-race interviews after tonight's race here at Bristol. What a wild 140 3 laps it was here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. First man up, the man who started from the rear of the field, Robert Rader in the 53. Let's hear about his night here at Bristol. Hey, Robert, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man.
I gotcha.
Hey, Robert, man, well, what a drive it was for you, man. A lot of ups and downs all night, but able to come home with a solid top 3 finish, my friend, after starting from the back of the field. Man, you really seem to work your way up through the field very well. How was the racing out there tonight at Bristol, man?
I'll tell you what, it was a really good Bristol race, all things considered. Just for the field, man, nice and clean race at a tough racetrack. So shout out to everybody in the race tonight. Starting from the back really sucked, but we we flew through there a lot faster than I thought we could. But I mean, really, the setup was pretty good. The top was fast, and then the bottom would come in for a little bit. And it seemed like some guys were a little too married to the top, so we'd get down to the bottom before they realized what was going on and picked up a bunch of spots that way. So I don't know, it was a fun night, even though the car's totaled.
Yeah, definitely not ended up with the cleanest car there at the end, but hey, you got the third there at the end, so it works out for you there. Got to do what you can there in the green white checkers, man. But again, congrats on that. But looking back at the beginning of the season, Daytona, you were a really strong force there at the plate track, man. We head off to Talladega next week. You feel like that's a track you can go off and get a win at?
Yeah, I expect the win there, to be honest with you. I don't know. I there's something about that kind of racing, especially now that they have the side draft built into the sim and everything. Super strong there, and Kevin is going to be a great teammate there too. He's really got that type of racing figured out also. So I think we're going to be super strong. They'll have to team up to beat us next week.
That they will, my friend. It'll be fun to watch you guys team up and see what y'all can do and what the competition can do against y'all. But again, congrats on third here tonight, Robert, for getting back up there, buddy. Before we let you get out of here, man, anybody you want to send a shout out to?
Of course, Chapman Environmental Services on the car. My family, my buddy Sean, who watches every week. Shout out to Sean. And once again, man, just everybody in the race tonight, because for Bristol to go with that much green flag racing is it's a blast and something that's kind of hard to come by. So shout out to everybody and you guys for broadcasting.
Well, thank you very much, Robert. You have a great night, man, and we'll catch you next week at Talladega, buddy.
Thanks, appreciate it, Zach.
All right, that was your third place man of Robert Rader in the 53 machine here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll see what he has in store for us next week at Talladega as we move on to our second place car of Nick Alves. What a run it was for him in the 24 after coming back from getting the lucky dog at stage 1. He's going to come back with a second place finish. Hey, Nick, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
I do.
Hey, Nick, well, what a great bounce back race for you here tonight, man. After the first stage, had to get the lucky dog to get back onto the lead lap. And at the end of this thing, you come back to finish the second, man. How does that feel to bounce back like that?
It feels great actually being unlucky in the first stage. Me and Justice coming together. That the damage really put me behind, and I actually was trying to stay ahead of Jason on the last lap of the first stage, but I couldn't do it, and then had to drive through the field again in the second stage. And I got lucky getting by that by the wreck on the final stage, and I was just able to keep it up there.
Yeah, man, you definitely did a good job to miss those wrecks there coming down to the end. Now, take us through the final restart there. You're restarting up top with them new tires, man. What were your chances, and what do you feel like you could have done possibly to get yourself in victory lane with those new tires?
For a win, it'd be tough to beat Jason at any track, but to get a top 3, I thought my chances were pretty good, especially starting on the high side right behind Jason. He was going to get the jump off the restart, and I was just going to try to stay on his bumper the whole time. And unfortunately, Trevor, he tried doing a bump and run on Jason and going into 1 and 2 on the final lap. He backed up the corner a little bit too much to me, which I didn't think he was going to do that bad, but he had to gather it up, he said. And unfortunately, he got spun, but lucky for me, I was able to avoid that wreck as well, and I brought it home in second.
That you did, my friend, man. Able to put the 24 up into the second place position here tonight at Bristol. So congrats on that, buddy. Next week, we'll see what you can do at Talladega. Before we let you get out of here and head off to Talladega, Nick, anybody want to send a shout out to in that 24 machine, man?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys, always doing your broadcast. You guys do an amazing job. Shout out to my 2 teammates, Dylan and Maddie, always supporting and just keeping the team going. And big shout out to Facebook Gaming Tricky for always sponsoring the car. And yeah, thanks guys again.
Well, Nick, congrats on second here tonight at Bristol, man. We'll see what you can do at Talladega. You have a fantastic night, and we'll catch you next week, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right, everybody. That was your second place man of Nick Alves in the 24 machine, able to bring home that second place finish to the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Finzer here at the Underdog Race League. This guy is on a roll as always, as we see. What a dominant performance it was here tonight, but domination had some controversy there at the end to hold him off. Let's hear what his thoughts are coming down to the end there. Hey, Jason, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, I tell you what, buddy, we could say this was a dominant performance tonight, definitely from that 5 machine after qualifying that second position, really getting the lead right from the start, winning both those stages, my friend. But I tell you what, it got wild down there at the end. Kind of, we'll get to the end of the race, but, take us through the beginning portion of the race because it looked very, very smooth for you through that first portion.
Yeah, it was. The car seemed to work pretty good. First stage, I was kind of just doing a long run to see where I wanted to run the car because you can use up the right front pretty quickly here. And if you change your line, you can kind of burn up the right rear. So I just kind of moved around a little bit and tried some stuff. But the first 2 stages were pretty flawless for us, but that last stage was a different story for sure.
Yeah, definitely the different story for sure. Coming down to the end there, catching that caution, you had James Loveland not too far behind. He was definitely putting a little bit of pressure there. If he had any type of little hiccup, he would have been right there on the back bumper, but that caution comes out. Then you decide to be the only guy who doesn't pit. Being that first place car, it is always tough. We know sometimes you can be a sit duck when it comes to pit road, and everybody behind you elects to hit pit road. Kind of take us through the thoughts there. I mean, that's got to be a thought of, oh man, I might be in trouble.
Absolutely. But it's one of those deals where whatever I do, they're going to do the opposite. I kind of felt that, but I felt like we were close enough to the end that if I could just get some short runs, I might be able to survive it. But yeah, it was really tough. If I had to do it over again, I definitely would come down pit road. But again, they could stay out too. So it's really a turkey shoot of what you choose.
Yeah, definitely was, man. And kind of the other thing I could ask you about is your restarts all night just seemed like you had always had the timing a little bit different for everybody. Was that kind of the goal? Because every restart we see you open that gap up, and you think that's kind of critical coming back to this race victory.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you can be out in clean air, and especially at Bristol, and not be side by side, it's a positive. So just try to mix it up a little bit. And I knew at the end there with those short caution flag runs, if I could just kind of squirt out a little bit sooner and go when I can go, it was going to definitely be in my favor.
Well, man, it definitely played out to be in your favor, my friend. Back-to-back victories after the win at Coda last week. So congrats on that, getting another victory in your back pocket, Jason. It was a really fun race to call and a wild race at that, man. Before we let you get out here, as always, and head to Talladega, anybody want to send a shout out to in that 5 machine, man?
Well, first off, Trevor. Trevor did a good job. He drove me really clean, to be honest with you, for Bristol, and I appreciate that. So I did have an opportunity to talk to him before we jumped in here. So just want to make sure I give him a shout out. Shout out to my boy Chase. He's tuning in and watching tonight. And big happy birthday to my sister today. Today's her birthday. So we got our victory.
That is awesome stuff, Jason, man. You go celebrate that one, man. Congrats on the victory as always. And we will catch you next week at Talladega, my friend.
Sounds good, boys. Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner of Jason Finzer in the 5 machine here tonight, the Bristol Motor Speedway. Another victory in the back pocket of our defending series champion. And what a way to do it. Also in style, holding them off on 48 lap old tires. As we head now to our race results to see where your favorite drivers finished tonight's race order. Jason Finzer, of course, just talked to him. He's our race winner. Second's going to go to Nick Alves in that 24 machine. Third's going to go to Robert Rader after a rebound for him. Fourth, a great run for Cody Dorsey there. Fifth, same for Parker Johnson. Sixth for Christopher Heights, another great run. Seventh for David Well. Eighth's going to go to Ray Lane. Ninth's going to be Grant Thrope. Brownie got your top 10 there as a heartbreak finish there for Trevor Earhart. 11th's going to go to Brad Ringer. 12th's going to be Dylan Walterman, our winner last year from Bristol. 13th's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr. 14th, Jake Williams. 15th, John Magner. 16th's going to go to Scott Kerberg. 17th, Matt Job. 18th's going to go to James Loveland. 19th, Dane Moyer. 20th is Jacob Sekovich. 21st, Justice Murphy. And rounding out your field here tonight for your race results is Peyton Presley in the 22nd position. as that's your race results here tonight from the Bristol Motor Speedway. And what a night it was as Jason Finzer brings home that race victory. Sam, just wild finish there to see a man on 48 lap older tires hold off the field. I'm kind of speechless because he did everything perfect in his book.
He honestly did. It was picture perfect. He dominated most of this race, and it really just showed, hey, I know I can trust my restarts. And he even noted on it, it didn't matter what move he made. The rest of the field was going to do the opposite. So why not stick with the track position? Stick with what you've been the most dominant at, which has been the restarts. And it worked out great for Jason Finzer. The rest of the field, we kind of touched on it before interviews during that break. It just seemed like the drivers were not putting themselves in the best possible situation. They had the much fresher tires, but they weren't trying to go for the outside move. It was all about how to get right on the back bumper and not really about how to get the pass, it seemed like.
That it was, my friend. It was a wild night of drivers doing very interesting things out there on the racetrack. We just had an update, so drivers figuring stuff out. But Jason Finzer are able to master it here tonight, the Bristol Motor Speedway. Make sure you don't miss out next week on Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern, as we'll be back here live on Freaky Fast Broadcasting at Talladega as they go there to that 2.66 mile racetrack there in Alabama to do battle, and we'll get some good old restrictor plate racing action. And so make sure you tune in there. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe and like button to help out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and let you be notified each and every time we go live here at Freaky Fast. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll send it up to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr. here tonight to close out tonight's broadcast at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Underdog Racing League. Great Bristol racing here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. Beating and banging at its finest here with the Underdog Racing League. But with that being said, we're going to pack up our stuff here very shortly here and get ready to head off, as tomorrow night we are going to be live at Talladega. So we're going to set our sails, get there early. So we'll be at Talladega, tomorrow night with Stars and Stripes at 9:20 Eastern. And then also next Wednesday, we'll be at Talladega again. So there's going to be some super speedway racing going on, but tomorrow night is the last round of the regular seasons until they start their playoffs. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night and root on your favorite driver and see who can maybe point their way in and maybe get that victory and have the points in and get the victory to secure themselves into a playoff spot, as there's only the top 12 make it in and the Stars and Stripes. So again, make sure you tune in tomorrow night at 9:20 as Sam Dyer, Zach Hall, and hopefully Hunter Hayward will be calling all the action tomorrow night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But until then, have a great rest of your Wednesday night, and don't work too hard Thursday, and we'll catch you Thursday night. But until then, God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.